Welcome back to Radio Entrepreneurs. I'm Jonathan Freedman, and we have a duo up next, Irina Shestakova and Olivier Philippe, co-founders of Crytur USA. Welcome to Radio Entrepreneurs.
Hi. Well,
Hi,
thank you.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
Excellent to have you on. So tell us a little bit about Crytur, what it is that you do.
Crytur USA is a branch of Crytur, which is a Czech company with a tradition of crystal growing about 80 years, almost 80 years now. And we grow synthetic crystals that are used in high-tech applications, radiation detectors, lasers, high-intensity light sources. And we are trying to promote our technology here in the US where we are less known. In Europe, we are #1 company in volume of sales for electron microscopy and large scientific experiments and CERN and ITER. And we're trying to collaborate here with scientific groups that would be interested in our advanced technology.
So tell us a little bit about it, because something that struck me when you first introduced it, you talked about grow our crystals. So you're actually growing crystals in a lab that goes into the application?
Yes, the crystals are actually grown, just like you can imagine salt crystals growing on a string in salty water. It's exactly the same process, and the crystals start with a simple little seed, and it takes a few weeks, sometimes few months to grow a large crystal.
And then those are used within the light sources or as light sources, the crystals themselves, and they're used in different applications?
So some crystals, yeah, the property, crystalline structure is very interesting, right? When you have a medium that's uniform, you have very nice property that are not attenuated like in normal media. So some of these crystals can be used for radiation detection. So they convert the energy of the radiation, like X-ray, gamma ray, and convert it into visible light that can be detected. But you can use the same principle to generate the light, right? So here you excite it with a blue laser, and this energy is going to be converted within the crystal into visible light. And since these crystals have very good thermal property, they can evacuate heat, they can handle a lot of power. So they can be very, very bright in a very, very small package.
Interesting. So your product, if you will, I guess it's essentially a product, the crystals that you grow and the light that you develop within it is integrated into other end products, correct? It's a component,
That's right.
Essentially. So conceptually, how do you demonstrate that in different applications? Is that a challenge to show manufacturers how they can use it within? I know the company is very well established in Europe, but how do getting people's heads around how to use the technology, is that something that's been a learning process for you?
It's a little bit difficult, especially here in the US where we don't have much of a presence. So we first have to, and this year was difficult because there were no trade shows, no conferences. So we had to do a lot of things remotely. But yes, you have to show that your product, and I can talk about laser crystals, for example, are some formulations are somewhat standard. So you have to offer your formulation. But what is specific to the products that we make is, how well they will perform. So there's slight variation in the way the crystal is grown, the formulation, you add a few different chemicals, and they can perform at least as well as the best crystals you can find. And in some conditions, depending on what kind of laser design you have, they can actually perform 10 to 15% better. So we're trying to promote it by at least have the clients try them. So we have an offer where we can sell the crystal for them to try, and if they're not satisfied, they can return it. I mean, we do charge a premium for this extra performance, but in some application, it really makes a difference for the application. So here it's for medical application. For example, they're used in hair removal, tattoo removal, skin rejuvenation, etc., etc. But we do
Given that it's an organic matter that's involved in creating these crystals, what's the life cycle?
So it's not organic matter. They're oxides, right? So they're rare earth oxides. They are grown at 2000 degrees, some of them, so they're extremely stable. And if the crystal is very uniform, very pure, without any chemical impurities, they can handle a lot of power, a lot of energy without really ever degrading.
Maybe I can give an analogy. You know about diamonds, right? And you know also that diamonds can be grown in the lab, can be synthetic diamonds. Same with our crystals. These are just like sapphire, ruby that we grow in the lab. And we find application in technology, but they also can be, you know, these are the crystals. I don't know if you can see it, and they just look like rubies or sapphires or some other jewelry gemstones, but they found applications in science, just like diamonds. They have application in science and they have applications in jewelry. So these are crystals that exist in nature, but we just grow them in controlled scientific way. And there are plenty of companies in the US that use crystals, synthetic crystals. We just have to find the ones that are not happy with the performance of the crystals and their instruments, because we believe that we have superior technology. Our company, before it became a private company, was a research institute in Czech Republic that was had a lot of brain power, a lot of know-how, a lot of research and technology put into it. And then when the Soviet Union fell apart and many companies and research institutes were privatized, the company was privatized and turned into a very successful commercial company. And Olivier and myself, we traveled to Czech Republic for our previous job for last 12 years, and we got to know this company. And one day we were talking to each other and we said, this is a company that we admire. And if one day we have a company, we would like to have a company just like that, because it's not only technologically advanced company and put a lot of emphasis in research and development, but they also put a lot of emphasis on letting their employees to thrive and succeed. They promote their development, and also they take good care of them. There is a kindergarten, there is a cafeteria to attract people to the area, which is a beautiful area near Prague. They even provide free housing for first few years to make sure that young people, single people who can't afford to buy a housing, they have nice housing. So it is very employee-oriented company, and they provide free lunch, free breakfast. So when we learned about this company, we said that we want to do something like that in the US. We want to have a company that is a collaborative experience where people work together on one purpose and they take care of each other and they respect each other. And that's what we are working on.
So your U.S. operation that you've developed, how much does it mirror, obviously on a smaller scale, the parent company? Do you have labs in the U.S.? You have scientists in the U.S., or is a lot of the R&D happen in Europe and you're mostly sales and distribution in the U.S., or do you have a full complement, or is that the plan to build a full team in the U.S.?
Yes, the goal is to have a full mirror of the Czech company and maybe even grow bigger, because we believe the US market is bigger than the European market. Right now it's just mostly sales and distributions, but we also, because we are both physicists and or engineers, we participate in a lot of discussions with our clients, offering them better solutions. Sometimes people who come to us, they don't have a solution, they have a problem, and they don't want to just buy a part, they want they need help to design the part that they need, and that's where we come in. We help them design, and we have the help of all our team in Czech Republic. If you have some concepts, they can implement it, and they can make drawings, and they can try it out, and that's how we work. We consider ourselves a part of the Czech team, but also we would like to build more on their local talent. That's the reason we opened our branch in Massachusetts. We're located between MIT and Boston University and Boston College, and so we want to use the brain power to build a company here.
So the interesting part about the company, first, it's called vertically integrated, right? We control everything from the science to production, and also all the engineering around the device. We don't just sell crystals, but we sell fully assembled detection units, light sources. We can do laser heads, also radiation detectors, microscopy detector. So there are many, many aspects. The sales here in the US provide some financial base, right? Some revenue for us to operate. And with this, we have time to develop research associations. So we work with research centers here, like our partners work in Europe with very big entities on fairly large projects. And that helps us get recognition, get contacts, and expand our capabilities. So on the side, yes, we do work with some research centers here in the US on their detector projects or others, and also, of course, private companies on their projects.
So given that you're essentially a startup in the US, part of a large European enterprise, what were some of the challenges that you encountered along the way? Because we're about entrepreneurs, you're clearly entrepreneurs making a foray into the US. What are some of the challenges that you encountered along the way that perhaps you didn't think would be as much of a challenge as they've turned out to be? And I imagine in the midst of a pandemic, it's made things even more challenging. As you said, you haven't been able to attend trade shows. You haven't. It's more challenging to get your product in people's hands so they can actually see it in real time. And so, what are some of the lessons that you've learned, or some of the things that you would impart upon us having gone through it?
Well, we probably were very naive when we started the company, because we've never had a business before. So we probably thought, well, we just open a branch and start a website, and the orders will start coming in. But that was not the case. We had to work really hard to put ourselves in front of companies that need our products. And we had to figure out the way, because all the conferences and trade shows that we were supposed to go to were canceled or turned into virtual shows. And that, of course, it doesn't have the same impact. But we try to utilize it as much as possible. We attended all the conferences that we could. And we used LinkedIn a lot to just get in touch with people who design products in their companies. And what helped us actually the network of Massachusetts entrepreneurs. We ran accidentally into a mass innovation network, and they organized the introduction for us. We were able to present our technology. Also, state of Massachusetts helped us with startups. They told us, well, you need to have a capability statement. You need to get a cage number, or you have to classify your business. So that help was available for free, and that was great. We were not aware of all the things that needed. And now they told us, oh, you need a W-9 form. We didn't know what it is, and of course, every time we started getting orders, everyone asked us for W-9 form. So we didn't know about all the mechanics. So being physicists, we just thought, okay, the product is great and people will recognize it and get it. But we didn't know that there is a lot of administrative work behind it.
If you build it, they will come, but it's not that simple.
Right.
Especially during a pandemic.
Yeah,
absolutely. I don't want to get into, we could probably have a whole show talking about regulatory issues in this country versus Europe and some of the challenges there. But I want to try and, if you can, because your product is so broad and so many different applications, what are the top markets, if you want, 3 or 5 markets that you focus on to try and bring your product to those markets. What are they?
In Europe, our largest market is electron microscopy. We build detectors for electron microscopy. We don't have any customers here in the US. No one knows us. There are other suppliers, so we would like to get into that market. Our crystals for radiation detectors and lasers are more known. They're well known in Europe, and they're somewhat known in the US, but we want to focus on promoting them more. And it's interesting, we had a conversation with people from MIT, and they said, we've never heard of your companies. We use these products all the time, but we never heard of your company because it's our products sold and resold. And but now we are here, and we're to let people know that we are available directly to buy products from us, and not only buy products, but we can design products for application. And we're more interested in those niche application and development for our customer needs. We're interested in scientific collaborations, but it's not something you take off the shelf and anyone can do it. There are large companies that grow large volume. We are smaller, medium business size company, and we're interested in something where we can apply our brains, our expertise, our experience, and help design something new for some new applications. And that's what we are trying to get into, so that to become known as the company that works on specific solutions for some difficult problems.
So one of our big market is electron microscopy. So it's the one you can imagine in a lab. So we can make detectors that make different measurements. There are different type of detectors, but also for big industrial companies. The semiconductor industry, for example, is a very, very big customer, where they inspect their wafers, and they can also repair them with electron beams. So they have specific electron microscopes, and we make custom detectors for those. So these have to be custom made. Yeah, one detail we need to emphasize is that most of our products are custom made. It's not like you have a store and you have all these parts and they're generic. Very few are, but most of them are custom made.
There's no catalog. No catalog, so to speak.
They're catalogs, but they're general, right? They describe the crystals, the generic properties, but you have to specify the length, the size, the optical coatings, and the application for which you want to use it, because our scientists will help customize the product for the application. And that's how, in laser products, so we have a big market for medical applications, for example, but also for the high power laser applications like military and such. And the differentiation is really how perfect your laser material can be, because they push it all the way to the limit of the power it can handle.
Excellent. Fascinating stuff. Our guests on Radio Entrepreneurs have been Irina Shestakova and Olivier Philippe, co-founders of Crytur USA, a well-known European company, Crytur. If people want to get in touch with you and learn more about your products, what's the best, and services, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Well, you have the logo behind us. It's the company is called Crytur, Crytur, and our website is crytur-usa.com. And you'll find all the contacts.
Excellent. It's been a pleasure having you on Radio Entrepreneurs. Again, our guests are Irina Shestakova and Olivier Philippe, co-founders of Crytur. And it's been a pleasure having you on Radio Entrepreneurs.
Thank you very much.
Thank
It's
you.
been a pleasure.
Pleasure.
Great. And we'll be right back with another story on Radio Entrepreneurs.